Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Klein Connect here along with head coach Scott Langer. And coach, a weekend that probably didn't go the way anybody wanted it to go. Friday night, a 3-2 shootout loss that had Bossert scoring twice, assisted by Rue and Raver on both goals. At least that's how the score sheet had it. On Saturday night, a 2-1 regulation loss with Raver scoring his 12th of the season, assisted by Fletcher and Sullivan. But unfortunately, you guys don't get the point you needed Saturday night to be able to secure third place. You end up going into the playoffs in the fourth position, taking on number one Minot Minotauros. And before we get into that, overall on the weekend, what are your thoughts? I guess.
Well, Friday we didn't play very well for the first 40 minutes, and then the final 20 we took it to them pretty well. And once it goes to a shootout, you roll in the dice, and it didn't go our way. I think we could be a lot better at bearing down in those shootouts, but when they dictate the game, it's tough.
Yeah.
And then you move on to the second night, and we played a real good hockey game. Actually, we made two huge mistakes. One not getting it deep, the other one rimming it up the wall, and that was the difference in the game. But I thought we played a real good hockey game on Saturday night. We just they were a fired up team, and they got two bounces, and the whole weekend we couldn't find a bounce. We had a whole lot of opportunities Saturday to put that game way out of reach, and we just couldn't find a way to bury the puck.
Sometimes we talk about puck luck, and it's funny you mentioned that about the bounce. I know there were a couple of different times where there's a rebound out front and open part of the net, and just somehow the puck just rolling funny or bouncing funny, and the shot goes wide or over the crossbar or whatever. And like you said, it just wasn't going your way. But as you said too, I think that it is important to note that Saturday night's game was a lot better. I thought both teams actually played better on Saturday night, but the Wings definitely came out there with some intensity, and you got to like that as you get ready to go into the first round of the playoffs. Because we talked earlier about being hot at the right time and about having some momentum. Well, maybe not some momentum, but at least you got to feel pretty good about the way they played overall Saturday as you get ready to go forward.
Yeah, we didn't lack any effort.
Yeah.
I mean, the result is not what we wanted, and we're at a point where, every loss hurts our team. We take it to heart. So it's certainly going to add a lot more work this week, getting feeling and the right feeling and back to having energy. And, that's going to be a big hurdle. It's not a good weekend to enter the playoffs, especially be up against a team like Minot. But, we're up to the task. Our guys have worked hard for a good portion of the season, and I expect nothing less.
Yeah. Well, the Wings end the regular season 29-24, 3-4, and in fourth place after the weekend, as we talked about. As we get ready to move forward here, we talked about Minot. I saw them a lot the early part of the season. But it's been almost 2.5 months, something like that, since you've seen this team. Does that hurt or help?
Well, I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah.
At this time of the year, there's going to be 4 really good hockey teams in this division. 4 of the better teams in the entire league. Mm-hmm. It's going to come down to mistakes. It's going to come down to who makes more mistakes. We're a good hockey team. Minot's a good hockey team. They get the advantage of playing at home. I think that helps them a little bit, but they're a good hockey team. They're filled with vets. They're a team that's been to the playoffs last year, and they have a lot of players that know what it's like to play in the playoffs. So we have a team that maybe has 3 guys that have playoff experience. So it's going to be a learning experience every game, every period, I should say, along the way. But I think if our guys put the effort they're capable of, I think the results can be there.
Right. And it's funny you say that or bring that up, because that was kind of my next point, was the fact that Minot is vet laden, and they were in the playoffs last year. So these guys have a lot of experience, and that includes playoff experience. How do you prepare as the week goes along, not only from for the team itself, but there is an intensity level to the playoffs where it's more physical, it's just more intense overall. How do you kind of, convey that to a young team that hasn't been there before, hasn't experienced it?
You can talk all you want about it, but until you get right into the whole war of the playoffs,
right,
it's not going to matter what you say. They're just going to have to get used to it right away and have a short learning curve,
right?
Because it's So we can talk about it all we want and the ups and downs of playoff hockey and how one mistake costs you a hockey game or one bad penalty. But like I said, until they live it and learn, minute by minute as this thing goes, they're not going to be able to work themselves through it mentally without having to handle it. So, it'll be good. I think obviously we're the underdog.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to win this series. I don't think a whole lot of people are in our corner. And that's okay, because this family believes it, and we're going to go after everything we can.
Well, it certainly helps to have a coach with the level of experience that you have had in the playoffs and so on. I'm sure that the guys are looking to you for that kind of veteran leadership as well. And it's funny, again, you segued into something else, and that is the underdog. The fact that you go in as a 4 versus a 1, a team that may have been written off by some people. Is there a little bit of a it's us against the world kind of, we've got nothing to lose, so let's just go in with guns blazing kind of mentality that they can have?
I mean, I guess you can. I've never really been in that kind of situation. I have to play that card, but it's just simple. We're not supposed to win this series. I mean, we shouldn't win it on paper, and that's okay. Our guys are going to be prepared. They're going to have everything they need as far as the blueprint goes, and then they just have to go out there and play a game. And it's fun playing on the road, and they have to embrace that. Sometimes it's, you can't take it personally for our fans, but sometimes it's a lot more fun to win in someone else's building. And I think, like I said, we're just going to claw our way at this thing and inch by inch, just do what we can to win this series.
Play a bit of a spoiler role, as you said, kind of take some energy out of their building. Definitely, some of the players, over the course of time that I've been around the sport, talking to different players and so on, they kind of feed off of that hostile environment sometimes, and that's they're not intimidated by much, so that's pretty cool. So I'm sure the Mesa Ice Arena will be full, and it'll be a raucous environment, and that hopefully will add a little bit of boost, a little bit of excitement to the Your Aberdeen Wings. Well, Coach, I don't have a whole heck of a lot for you. I know you got your busy, this week with the preparation and everything. Didn't want to focus a whole lot on the weekend, but mostly on what the mentality of the boys and how we move forward from here. And I think you did a great job of kind of explaining that and talking about it, so I'll let you get going here. I appreciate you taking some time to come talk to us, though.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we're going to take a break, and we will be back with our second portion of Wings Weekly coming up after this.
Let's make a taco. No, seriously. Start with a tortilla, soft tortilla. Warm it, kiss it. Don't kiss it. Chicken? How about tequila lime chicken? Now we're cooking. Slice this, peel that, snip those. Salsa? Verde. Cheese? Cotija. Oh, forgot to mention. Guac. That's better. See, anyone can make a taco, but we're not anyone. We're Qdoba, and these are knockout tacos. Qdoba Mexican Eats. Choose flavor.
Welcome back to this edition of Wings Weekly, the second segment featuring players as usual. And today joining me, Andy Carroll from Northfield, Minnesota, and Nolan Sullivan from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. A couple Minnesota boys. First of all, you guys ever come across each other in your high school careers, or maybe coming up through the leagues, through as Bantams and so on? Ever played against each other before?
Yeah, I think both being from close to the metro, obviously like the Sullivan name was an apparent name, both from Eden Prairie. I actually played with Nolan's older brother, who plays up in Fairbanks, growing up on a summer hockey team. Okay. So I was kind of around and knew of Nolan. Didn't see him a ton, but definitely knew his family. So.
Well, that's interesting, because every time we get a bunch of St. Cloud guys or whatever, I always have to give them crap about whose team beat who and who did throughout the season. So, well, Nolan, I'm going to start with you. You joined the team late after you get done with your high school season and come on over. First of all, talk about that experience a little bit. Like, how is it to come over to a junior team where you don't really know anybody in the locker room and stuff? How has this team been to kind of welcome you and make you feel like you're part of things?
Yeah, it's been great. I actually called Andy kind of when I was making my decision on who to tender with, who would be the right fit, and it just kind of seemed like it'd be the right place for me. And it's always nerve-wracking kind of coming in this late in the season, but between Jack just being my roommate, he's been awesome helping me out, kind of showing me the way, and then just having the team being so welcoming, like it can always be tough. I'm fighting for a position just like everybody else, so just to have guys supporting me and really backing up each other, it's just been a good family environment.
Yeah, I think that's something that's kind of been hammered on since the very first day, is family, and as it is a band of brothers, so to speak. So that's awesome. It doesn't surprise me a bit to hear that was the way it went, but to get another perspective, it's hard to take that step, I guess, and kind of out on your own and be in this particular case, one of the last guys in too. So you don't have that growing experience in some cases. Andy, you recently a big decision. Talk about that a little bit, if you would, if you don't mind, and about what goes into it. Because you had a couple of offers. You went and saw some other schools and stuff. What goes into your choice, and how difficult was it?
No, absolutely. It was definitely one of those decisions where I had to take some time and really, work through all the pros and cons to everything. And it was a tough decision. I mean, obviously, there were other various schools that had great hockey programs and great academics. But when it came down to it, Mankota was just the right fit. Obviously, being 45 minutes from my house wasn't a negative. So that just gives being close to my family as an only child. My parents are obviously going to be able to come and watch. And it was tough. I mean, I talked through it, with guys like Kevin Fitzgerald who made commitments this year, and it was one of those things where obviously a fantastic opportunity, and you can't go wrong just trying to find that best decision. So.
Right. Well, I'm sure Mankota is happy to have you, and I was looking, if I'm not mistaken, I think you were the 14th commitment on this team at some point or another. Of course, Nick Jenny committed, but has since moved on, and Matt Ladd, others. But somebody who has played for this team at some point in this season, I think there were 14, if I'm not mistaken, commit. So that's pretty impressive.
Definitely.
That's awesome to see that that level of success, I guess, moving guys on to D1 programs. Another question for you. Away from the ice, what do you like to do? Because I hear you're a heck of a golfer.
Yeah. I picked up playing competitive golf. It would have been my junior year in high school. And I played baseball growing up all the way, but when it came down to summertime, I knew that I had to devote more time to hockey, so I just played golf as a spring sport and kind of picked up on it. I'd played the game before, but no, I enjoy to hit the links whenever I can when I'm not training or skating. But yeah, we get some good friendly competition going on over at Rolling Hills, and it's a lot of fun.
How about you, Sully? You got anything to your golf game?
I'm a typical hockey player, but hit it far, hook right type guy. So still working on it.
Well, that must be the typical hockey player then too, because that sounds like my shot. But that's awesome. I know, Coach brought it up at the banquet too about Fletcher being the worst player and stuff. So I was going to ask you that, but I think everybody knows that Fletcher's he's the at the bottom of the ranking. Guys, well, and again, away from golf, what do you guys do as a group or as a team around town? Things that you've kind of like maybe where's your favorite place to eat? Things like that. I always think that's interesting for fans to hear a little about your lives away from the rink. And especially for you, Nolan, coming in and not having a whole lot of time, but of course having a guy like Jack Kelly be able to kind of to give you the lowdown, quick like, what do you guys do? What do you do? What do you like to do?
Want to go first?
Sure. I mean, when we're not, I take online college courses. So when I'm not doing those, I like to hang with the guys. We like to hit up Twist Cone or Dairy Queen sometimes in the evenings just to hang out. Obviously, Roma's and Qdoba is another big spot for lunch or dinner. But I think other than eating. The guys are pretty good. Sometimes we'll go to the Y and play basketball or, something just to stay active because after practice, it's usually, before 12 o'clock, somewhere around there. So you got to find a way to spend the rest of your day. And, I think we've done a good job of that this year and staying active and staying busy, which helps the days pass by.
Right.
Yeah, for me, kind of same thing. I actually fell kind of far behind on my online English class, so I had some catching up to do the first couple of weeks, but we're back on track now. I know, just like Andy, Twist Cone's pretty big. The guys like to go to KFC or Qdoba are kind of two of the big hot spots for our team. Other than that, some knee hockey at Bagwell's always gets intense. They almost checked Jack Kelly threw the gun safe the other game. So, yeah, a little bit of everything, but it's fun.
It is. Well, knee hockey, you never know how intense those games are going to get. Talking about Minot and this, I don't know. Some might fault me for not talking, I guess, about the weekend that was, but I guess I kind of feel like that was in the past, and you've clinched a spot moving forward into the first round of the Robertson Cup and playoffs, and Minot is going to be a tough team to face for sure, and a big challenge. Now, Sully, you haven't even seen them. We've never played them before because it's been a long time since the Wings and Minot took the ice because they were so heavy in the first part of the season. But Andy, you got your fill of them early on. You know that what this team is all about. What do you guys have to do to be successful and really, come to a realization as what the playoffs brings? Because the intensity is definitely amped up. I mean, from the crowds, from the everybody is just, the hits are harder, the everything. And I was kind of asked the same question to coach, and he said it really isn't a way. You have to live it. You have to go through it. But how do you guys as players prepare, or do you treat it like any other game?
No, I think when you go into the playoffs, I think everyone knows that it's going to be a new atmosphere, whether you're home or away. And for us, we need to just come in, obviously prepare to do everything we need to do to win, but don't change our identity because it's playoffs. Keep to what's gotten us into a playoff spot, and then just amplify that to a whole nother level so we can go up there and get points up there.
That's a very good point. It really is. When you think about it, like you don't want to get so excited and so emotional about things that you kind of are out of control almost. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to make sure that you are in control and kind of have that discipline, but yet, as you said, realizing and recognizing that it is a different environment, and it is it's win or go home kind of situation, and there isn't at the start of the series there is, but it gets to that point where it's all on the line, So that's pretty cool, and I know the fans around here for sure are excited about it, and I'm sure they will be up in Minot too. Looking forward to this series for sure. I always like to ask about the locker room a little bit, about some of the guys, different personalities they have. We've talked about Raver and how he's probably the most moody, or Bossert maybe the most moody, or whoever's got the biggest temper. Who's the biggest? Now I've talked about funny guy or whatever. How about prankster? Is there somebody on the team that is gonna be the one who's gonna maybe tape a skate blade or do something to get somebody?
I wouldn't say we don't have anyone on our team that does that. I would say a former player who was here but ended up going to college after first semester, Nick Jenny. He was a classic at that. He'd put a little cup of water underneath your helmet, so you're getting ready for practice. You'd take down your helmet, it'd spill all over the place. But we haven't seen much of that late. I think it also might be kind of towards the end of the year. It's zero-in time, and that could be a part of it. But obviously, your Trey Bagwells are always the comedians are on the locker room, so that definitely brings some energy.
Yeah, for sure. What are your impressions there?
I do know somebody threw your sticks in the shower the other day.
That is yes, that is true. Yep, I think that was Colton Fletcher.
Yeah, I was gonna say Fletcher. Bags is a pretty good pick too. So
somehow or another, Bags gets brought up in every one of these shows, one way or the other, for good or better or worse.
No.
Well, anyway, folks, I think we'll probably get close to wrapping things up here, boys. I appreciate you taking some time to talk to us. A little about you away from the ice too, because I think fans like to see that. They're out there cheering for you. They're buying your jerseys at auctions and different things like that, cheering you guys on. But I think it's kind of cool for them to get a glimpse, of the men behind the visors too. But then I'm pretty awesome to hear your take on going into the playoffs, and so I really appreciate you taking some time to talk to us here. Folks, I want to remind you the 2017 Robertson Cup playoffs round 1 get underway Friday, April 14th and Saturday, April 15th at Minot, taking on the Minotoros. 7:35 puck drop both nights. Watch the games at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Aberdeen or on hockeytv.com. Listen on 94.1 The Rock, hubcityradio.com, or the Hub City Radio app. If you're planning to go to the games in Minot, you can get a playoff rate of $79 at the La Quinta Inn and Suites by calling 701-837-7900. Ask for the Minotauros playoff rate. Tickets are available at MinotaurosHockey.com under the Tickets tab, and children 5 and under do not need a ticket, that is, if they sit on their parents' lap. All seating is assigned. Doors open 1 hour prior to the puck. So that's some information about the Mesa Ice Arena there in Minot for Friday and Saturday. Friday, April 21st, it's home versus the Minot Minotauros. Season ticket holders receive free admission by checking in at the East Lobby prior to the game. Doors open at 5:30, puck drop at 7:15. General admission tickets are $10 or get reserved seating for $12 by calling Aaron at 605-380-5852 during regular business hours. Saturday, April 12th versus Minot here at the Odie if necessary, and then if it ends up going to a Game 5, Monday, April 24th, that's the deadline where the league has established that the first round has to be in. Monday, April 24th at Minot, if necessary. Again, that's at 7:05 puck drop on Monday. And all those games, again, can be heard on Hockey TV as well, or watched on Hockey TV and 94.1 The Rock. If you're out of the listening area, you can always download the 94.1 The Rock app and listen on your mobile devices. Well, that'll pretty much wrap up this week's Wings Weekly. Once again, I thank Andy Carroll and Nolan Sullivan for joining me. Best of luck in the playoffs, boys.
Thanks for having us.